How do we start this?
Well, this is called beginning, so we just start.
Okay. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Let's just start. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
The first book of the Bible, Genesis.
It means beginning. That's very important. Not actually, but it means beginning. That's something cool, so remember it.
So it begins with the creation.
Genesis 1-2.
God takes the earth, a deep, watery chaos, and calms down the water. It's still pretty deep.
Yeah, the water is really deep. It can kill people.
But he adds some land on top of that, so they're not instantly killed, and transforms it into a planet full of beauty.
Now, of course, planet is hard to define. For example, the people over at a certain space organization, we worked the definition of planet, so they bullied Pluto out of
existence.
Planetdom. They're the same thing. Trust us.
Anyways,
he appoints 2 humans, Adam, meaning humanity, which we don't have any of, and Eve, meaning life, which we lose slowly day by day, to rule over the earth as OCs. Well, representatives of him and his character. He blesses them greatly and gives them a moral choice. This moral choice is bigger than the entire earth that they were told to rule.
They can either trust God's definition of good and evil.
Now let me look up God's definition of good and evil.
We can't find it.
I got nothing.
So, they can either do that, or they can seize autonomy.
Let me look up what autonomy means. I'll actually get results here. Are you kidding me?
Autonomy, the quality of state of being self-governing. That doesn't sound so bad, but it really is. They can seize autonomy and define good and evil for themselves, which we humans are really bad at doing.
I would name recent world events, but that's probably not really necessary. You kind of just got it. Humans have always been bad at that thing, you know.
Unfortunately, this is when it started, because the fall comes right after
Genesis 3.
Genesis 3.
I named the chapters.
Okay.
The snake comes in. This is a creature that is rebellious against God. Now, of course, we don't know why the snake is rebellious against God. This is something that atheists always throw at us Christians, like, why did God not get rid of the snake? Or
just run with it, okay?
What the hell is the snake doing in the Garden of Eden? Please, just understand, this is the Bible. If you have a question to something, just keep reading the Bible. You'll get the answer, because apparently this is how it works. Although if someone has a question for Revelation 22, they won't be able to read further into the Bible to figure that out. But
at that point, just
we humans are left to our own devices
or something. Okay. So he tells Adam and Eve that if they take the fruit, they'll become exactly like God.
There are 2 things we need to point out here. 1, that's not possible. Nothing can be like God. And 2, we were already created as God's OCs. We were already created as God. That doesn't make any sense.
So this snake is trying to make us write bad fan fiction, and unfortunately he succeeded. The humans are deceived and they eat the fruit. And everything from their relationship with
everything
God to their trust in each other,
everything
spirals down.
Everything spirals down.
Okay. So this spiral.
Speaking of this spiral, it's a really cool spiral. We need to discuss it.
This spiral.
Plus Moses, plus Babylon. But we didn't put them into separate points. Sorry about that. Genesis 4-11.
There are many examples of humanity's downfall in these
Or
chapters.
the spiral. Or us humans being bad at defining good and evil. Abel and Cain were bad at defining good and evil. Not Cain, he was really cool. No, actually Abel, he was really cool. Cain,
not so much.
He murdered Abel. The first ever murder and family squabble. And family squabble that turned into a murder.
Which
and
there
murder
are a surprising amount of.
And murder that spawned from a family squabble.
Which again, there are a surprising amount of.
Then there's Lamech, one of Cain's sons. He goes around collecting NFTs.
Wives, actually.
And sings about how cool his NFTs are.
Wives!
How bad of a man he is compared to his father. His father was the first ever murderer, though.
So
he has a high standard to live up to. I feel bad for Lamech, you know.
There are also some people called the Sons of God. They're
Basically, the
talked about
Al-Qaeda before the Al-Qaeda.
They're talked about for all of about 2 seconds. So we don't know much about
they're
them.
either demons that pose as angels and
Call themselves Sons of God?
they infiltrate heaven like they're James Bond or something. They're not so great. And they're also just really bad politicians. They're not politicians, they're city leaders, but those are politicians.
Eloquently put. We also have Babylon,
A city founded out of pure corruption. Or, well, more politics. Politics is just pure corruption.
Wow, okay.
Wait, let me look at politics. We need to define it. We need to be certain. Okay. I got it. Politics. Merc.
Politics.
Oh. Politics. The activities associated with the governance of a country or other area, especially the debate or conflict among individuals or parties having or hoping to achieve power. So yeah, see, the thing about politics, it's just about hating each other and trying to gain more power. Okay.
Eloquently put. Now, there was a glimmer of hope when God tried to start fresh and wipe us out. That's a really powerful wipe. I'm glad that God likes to buy from Clorox.
Actually, it was a flood.
Clorox doesn't produce floods. Anyways, he tried to kill us all, but chose Noah and his family as our new descendants. A new start for humanity would uphold his rules, but they fell
Unfortunately,
into sin
they
too.
fell into sin too.
They sucked at their job. They also got wiped out, so. Yeah.
Small world. Well, actually, it's a pretty big one, but we make it small.
Now, the big point of not the entirety of Genesis, this is just chapters 1 to 11, the first part of it, but the big point is that God keeps giving us chances to make things right, but we always screw it up. We always screw it up. Back then, even now, we keep screwing it up. Entire countries can screw it up. Entire countries can screw it up. One 18-year-old can screw it up. A lot of people can screw up the chances God gives us to do something valuable as his OCs.
Sad.
But there is hope of a wounded savior. Basically a person who comes from the line of Eve. That's not fair to Adam, but woman can give birth. So Eve has that advantage.
Don't judge him because it says he's a wounded savior, though.
He's going to come and save us all. He's going to destroy the snake, but he's going to get his heel screwed over.
It's a small sacrifice.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on to the hinge.
The hinge story of Genesis 12. 12, 1 to 3. It's only 3 verses, but hinges are that short. Pay attention. We're actually going to talk seriously now.
We are?
Just for a little bit.
We haven't been doing that this whole time. Anyways, the calling of Abraham.
Let me read this.
Okay.
At this point in Genesis, there is a story about God calling a man known as Abram, later known as Abraham, as we all know him, to leave his home and travel to the land of Canaan, promising four things to him.
Canaan.
Promising 4 things to him. 1, to make him into a great nation. Now, a human cannot transform into a nation. He would need to have
Nothing. He can't do that. But still.
He would need to have Power Rangers levels of power to do that, but even the Power Rangers can't transform into a land. So, 2, to make the land his. He is the land by the logic of the first promise. So, ownership, to make him a really big NFT. Okay, number 3, to make his name great. Abraham is a pretty cool name, but if God wants to go further, then we should let it slide. This is God we're talking about. And 4, to bless him. Now that sounds pretty lame, but it's gonna be unlame pretty soon. So please make sure to watch this video if you consider it lame, but you want it to be unlame. Or you just like calling stuff lame and leaving it at that. Okay.
Bring you back down to reality, people who like to call stuff lame for no reason.
This harkens back to the original blessing of humanity from God in Genesis chapter 2.
You know, before things were not good.
And is where the entire message of the Bible is found. But it's not actually found there.
Guess we have to keep searching for it then. So let's continue with Abraham's family.
This is the pretty much entirety of Genesis 12 to 50. Just a bunch of stories about Abraham and his family and them screwing up and God coming in to bail them out.
You already spoiled it. I don't know why you did that, but still, he's right. A common theme throughout this section. Abraham and his family make decisions that result in failure.
Absolute failure. Absolute lack of success. They always result in just repeated lack of success. They're always just the omission of expected or required actioning at their goals in life, if they have any goals in life. They're always just so bad. Failure is defined as the state or condition of not meeting a desirable or intended objective, and maybe viewed as the opposite of success. Failure.
Success.
This
the one thing that Abraham's family in Genesis 12 to 50 lacks.
Dislike this video if you know what the definition of failure is. Oh wait, you can't do that anymore.
Like this video though, that's gonna help us, and maybe subscribe and hit the notification bell.
What are you
so
doing?
You never miss any video we upload. And maybe comment down telling us how much you loved the video too. Now we don't have to do it at the end.
We did start this with a court open. I'll let it slide.
Yay!
This time.
Okay. Anyways, but God remains faithful and is quick to
Really
rescue.
quick. Like, have you guys heard of The Flash? Yeah, he's that quick. Although, not actually. The Flash is, really slow compared to God. God is just that great, you know. I don't know the fastest Flash has ever gone.
Dang it! Anyways, that doesn't matter. What matters is Abraham's family and how much they are not a good family.
But how God is faithful and you guys ever heard of Sonic?
Alright, this is gonna keep on going for a billion years if we do this. Alright, let's actually get back to
Well, a billion years is a very short time to God. We may as well keep going for that long.
Number 1, Abraham, 12 to 25a. He betrays his wife 2 times
In chapters 12 and 20.
and sleeps with one of his female servants. When he and Sarah can't have children, but God rescues them and even formalizes his covenant promise with Abraham.
In chapters 15 and 17. Now, of course, you're probably wondering, why is there a reference to Harry Potter in the Bible? I don't know how Hagrid managed to make it into the biblical
It's
canon.
Hagar, and Hagar's a female.
Just accept it.
Okay, fine, whatever. Moving on, number 2.
This video is going to be great for Harry Potter fans.
Number 2, Isaac and Jacob plus Esau, 25b to 36. Jacob.
Oh, Abraham's story is from 12 to 25a, because that's what a good newscaster does. They fix their mistakes immediately on camera.
Jacob deceives his father, Isaac, to steal
Chapter 27.
the birthright of his older brother,
Esau.
and then marries 4 wives, but only loves one. Can you get a move on with this, please?
Rachel.
But after he's deceived and cheated by his uncle, Laban.
In chapters 29 to 31.
Thank
We're
you.
skipping over 28 because that's not an important chapter.
Bruh.
Don't read it.
He humbles himself.
Actually, do read it, please.
And returns to his homeland in a dream after he just wrestles God for a little bit.
Now, of course, if it was an actual wrestling match, if it was as aggressive as WWE, then
he get RKO.
RKO to death. It would only take. Well, by that point, God would probably be done with him when he grabs him by the neck.
Sure, yeah. But after that, he's renamed to Israel and is blessed by God. Oh yeah, also he battles with Esau for a little bit, but then they hug and they make up.
Yeah!
And everything's dandy.
I'm cheering for their makeup. You should too. It's a good moment.
How about I move on instead?
Ah.
Number 3, Jacob's sons.
In chapters 37 to 50.
Jacob loves his 11th of the 12 sons he had, Joseph, the most.
He gives him a Technicolor suit. Now, of course, Technicolor did not exist at that time, but
It's also a pretty dead format.
still though. Technicolor suit. That's cool.
But this makes his older brothers resent him, and they plan to kill him. But they're too wimpy to do that, so instead they just deport him to Egypt.
Actually, they do want to kill him, but there is one son out of all of them that doesn't quite want to kill Joseph. His
Benjamin.
Actually, it's Reuben. His name is Reuben. Now, he still hates Joseph with a passion, but he recognizes that, he draws the line at taking somebody's life.
Got it.
They just make him a slave. Well, actually, no. They just deport him to Egypt. Human trafficking!
Like I said a few seconds ago.
You could have just said human trafficking, because that's essentially what they did.
Okay. But God orchestrates his release, raises him to second in command.
He becomes the Kamala Harris of Egypt, right behind Joe Biden. Unfortunately, both of them have low approval ratings. But we don't need to mention
I guess
that.
we need to use a better example. Biden when he was a vice president to Obama. Yeah! Just pretend this is anywhere from January 20th, 2009 to January 19th, 2017. And reunites the family. And
After
one of the most emotional pieces of literature ever put to the market known as existence.
I was going to mention that Joseph saved his family from a famine.
There's that too.
Now on to the big point. This is the actual big point of the book.
Apparently so big you had to slam the table. Continue. Oh yeah, so it's in Genesis 49.
We have to go back one chapter. Now I know a lot of you are actually going to dislike this video because you think that we scammed you. That's fair, but stick with us here. Now you may have already disliked the video, but just stick with us here and watch.
And also remove that dislike and like the video.
Are you kidding me? I said
notification
I would
bell,
only
comment.
slide once.
It's at the end of the video. Near the end of the video.
Dude.
We need to say it multiple times so that they get it in their skulls. Though actually, this is more important than that. Anyways, you were saying?
God's promise of a wounded victor in Genesis 2, 1, technically one's free.
It's free.
Is developed through his plan to restore the world through Abraham's family. Now, of course, Abraham's family is doing a crap job at that
I
right now,
personally give them a 6 out of 10 when it comes to being a family.
But he's going to restore the world with them regardless.
Anyway, so in chapter 49, an important poem details an aging Jacob blessing his 12 sons as he dies. When he gets to Judah, who's been fairly underrated to this point, he predicts that a king from his line will command the obedience of all the nations and fulfill God's promise to restore his garden blessing, garden referring to Garden of Eden, to all of the world.
Now, of course, we have no idea what that means, but, even if we were actually good people, we could never really understand what that means. This is God we're talking about. It's just
Anyways, Jacobs dies before he can try to give a semblance of an answer to the question we just asked. Although, just so you know, if you haven't read Genesis before, let me spoil you a little bit. Chapter 50 ends with Joseph dying as well. And I think the last few couple of verses are about his body being glazed in honey and taken to Egypt. And then Exodus starts with, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to be talking about that. Anyway, so Genesis ends with all these future hopes and promises left hanging and God's plan to fulfill.
In all seriousness, Genesis is one of the most important pieces of literature ever written. It is the canonical start to not only the existence of this universe, but the greatest story ever told. A story that all of us really do need to hear and process in our own unique ways. You don't need to just watch this video to understand Genesis. There are multiple other sources of information that you could use to understand Genesis.
I mean, first of all, go get a Bible and read it yourself, obviously. You can download YouVersion, a mobile app that is basically a Bible in your pocket. It's really good. We recommend you go download it. It's on most platforms you can think of.
You can join, I would say church, but that includes the Catholic Church.
Just join. Well, we don't want to discriminate against certain denominations.
Fair.
So just join a church. Bible Gateway and other great websites. You know, there are multiple ways to experience the Bible. And you should start by experiencing Genesis. Though most people say that you should start with John, but you should start with Genesis.
If you're a new believer, yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want, start with John.
But if you're someone who knows the Bible somewhat, start with Genesis.
Now, going into Exodus, we do have to take into account there are a lot of future hopes and promises that God gave off in Genesis. From his promise for Adam and Eve in Genesis 3 to his promise to Abraham in Genesis 12 and Jacob's promise to Judah in Genesis 49. There is
That's a lot of promises to upkeep.
And we don't know how he's going to do it, which is going to be explored in Exodus. But we do know that God always has a plan for everything. He always has people that he is going to use. He always has ways of going about things. And in the end, he is definitely going to make sure that all of these plans are fulfilled for the better of humanity's sake. He is going to restore this world. Do you hear me? Restore. Because restore
Restore.
to bring back into existence, use, or the like, reestablish.
Yeah, he's gonna do that, people!
He is going to restore us humans, eventually, since currently right now we're in the old end times, things are pretty bad. He is going to restore us humans to the way that we used to be. We are finally going to live up to the very reason that God created us, to be representatives of him and his character, to have dominion over this earth and to always walk in his definition of good and evil. And so that's why Genesis is so important. That's why Genesis is the reason we're making this video. That's why Genesis is referred to as beginning.
And it's a pretty good beginning at that. We don't know how to end this.
But Genesis is beginning, and every beginning has an end.
We'll get to that end much later. But still, for now, make sure to like this video, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit the notification bell, and make sure to comment. I said those things 2 times already, but hey, 3rd time's the charm, right? Okay, bye!